Hello, today we're going to take a look at Morpheus Cipher and specifically how to use Morpheus Cypher Secrets in automation tasks. For a little bit of background, Cipher is a secure key value store. It can store or generate credentials that can be used to connect with instances or communicate with secure APIs. The secret values are always stored securely, and it makes it very easy to use them in automation tasks, as we're going to see, as well as replace or rotate them. There's plenty more in Morpheus documentation on Cipher, but that little bit of background should suffice for now. This video is primarily about using stored Cipher values in automation scripts. So to start out with, I'm in Cipher within Morpheus. It's under the Tools menu, and I have some secret values that are stored here, and a couple of these are example secret values that we're going to work with today. So if you have sufficient rights, you can decrypt secrets that are stored within Cipher if you ever need to. This account happens to have full rights within Morpheus, so if I go ahead and decrypt this, we see that there's a JSON body stored here securely. There's a couple of things stored within this body. We have underneath the accounts key, we have a list of username and password items within here. Also on the top level of the JSON body, we have this made-up API key, as well as this made-up API token. Just some things that we can work with as we're taking a look at how to actually onboard those into automation scripts. Have a couple of others as well. A lot of times stored secret value will just simply be one line, maybe a access key or secret key for AWS, as I have a couple of those here, maybe an API key. Here's a dummy API key that I put within this Cipher secret. So just a couple of things that we can work with as we take a look at the example scripts. So if we move on over into the automation section, I have a handful of scripts that I've prepared that we can take a look at. If you've not used Morpheus tasks before, these are basically just little snippets of automation code, automation script. They can be strung together into larger logical groups of automation suites known as workflows, which we won't get into today. But as you can see, if I go ahead and click add, there's a number of different types. They can be written in a number of different languages, or some of them are simply to issue a restart to a box, send an email, number of different things you can accomplish with tasks. So back in the list of tasks that we've already created, let's take a look at a couple of tasks that onboard some of those Cipher secrets that I showed earlier. We'll start off with a bash script task. It is right here, and if we take a look at the contents of my script, you can see that to onboard, I can onboard those secret values into variables, and I can use those in any way that I need to. This is just kind of a simple example to show that I can echo back out the value of that Cipher secret, but we'll take a look at a practical example in the end as well. I'm going to go ahead and close that, and then we will execute that so that we can take a look at the actual outcome of running all of our tasks here at the end. Let's take a look at a PowerShell example as well. If I take a look in here, I'm doing something similar here. I can load that Cipher value into a variable, and then I can use that in any way that I want within my code. Once again, I'm simply going to output that value of that secret to the terminal just to show that I can grab that value. I could use it in any way that I want in my script, again, just by calling cipher.read and referencing the specific mount point and key for the secret value that I want to access. We'll close that, and then let's execute that one as well. And once again, once we're all done, we can take a look at the output that we get from that. Let's go ahead and jump into the Python task as well. This one's a little bit longer, and I'm using a outside package which is specifically designed for working with Cipher values in Morpheus, specifically with Python tasks. So I can reference any packages that aren't a part of the Python standard library here. And then let's take a look at the script itself. So I'm importing the outside package, and then taking a look in here. Once again, I'm onboarding various secret values into variables by calling Cipher. And then these are pretty standard keyword arguments that are entered here. This particular package is documented pretty well on its documentation page if you need to take a look at that at a later time. I also have turned off the Ssl verification because my particular Morpheus appliance has a self-signed certificate, but if you didn't have a self-signed certificate, you wouldn't have to necessarily do that. But then if we call the get function, once again, we can reference the mount point and then the specific key, and we can onboard that. So as you can see here, I've called my variable full secret map. So we took a look at that JSON body just a little bit ago. This is going to onboard that entire JSON body into a variable. So that may be something that we need to do, but we can also go a little bit further. Here, this variable I've called user1. So I want to pull just the first username that was inside of that accounts list. I can do that as well. Similar syntax here, getting up to the get call. But as you can see here, after we reference the mount point and the key for the secret itself, we can also use a colon separated path to get to specific values that we want within the JSON body. So I can go into the accounts key. Remember, accounts contained a list. So I can call for the item at index 0, which is the first item in the list. And then also then from inside the first item in the list, I can call for whatever the value is at key user1, which we know is the first username that's in that list. I did a similar thing here, password 1, still going into item at index 0, but referencing the pass1 key. And then down here, I'm calling for my single line secrets that I showed earlier when we were taking a look in Cipher. Those are at a separate mount point and key, but you can see I've specifically referenced that key here, because if I just do secret/example secrets, I'll get the full map. So I reference, put a colon here, and then reference the specific key that I want. Can do the same thing with that dummy API token that I'd entered, colon, and then reference the specific key that I need. And then down here, simply all I'm doing is printing all of those secret values that I've onboarded to the terminal so that we can see those in just a moment. One other thing you can do that I did want to point out within Python tasks is you can also enter command line arguments. Now, those don't have to be static text in Morpheus. Those can be interpreted, as you can see here. So I can call the cipher.read function and then reference a specific secret. Now, these have to be single line strings that have no white space. But if you have something like an API key, API token, something like that, I actually made one that was just a single line called command line example so that I can call that in. And then you can onboard those into Python code using the sys package. That's part of the Python standard library, so we don't even have to reference it down here. And then you can see here where I've loaded that variable, the full secret map again. Because actually I should have probably called that something else, because it's not that full map. It's actually just a one-line secret. But I'll go ahead and keep the variable name as I have it there. And then I can call sys.argv, and it's going to be at index 1 because index 0 is going to contain the name of the script itself, which I don't want. I actually want the first command line argument. So that's how I get that back out. And we're going to see that all of these get printed to the terminal once we're done. So just like all of the other ones, I'm going to go ahead and execute this. Actually, I don't think I need any context to execute that. So I'll go ahead and execute that. Morpheus lets us see the results of any executions that we've done. So I'm going to go into provisioning and then executions. The top 3 should be the 3 that I've taken a look at here on this video. So if we expand this out to see the output, you can see, if you remember back to the configuration of the bash script, we were calling loading 2 variables with 2 of our secrets that were stored in Cypher. So I'm getting those back. PowerShell, we did just 1. So if I open this up to take a look at the output, you can see my example API key is there. And looks like our Python script is done running. This one had a little bit more. So on that first line, we should see the full map that we saw back at the beginning when I decrypted that Cypher secret. You can see that full JSON map is there. And then the other 5 things that I had as well. So this is the one I called in from the command line. This is that username 1 that I called out. This is the password for user 1 that I've called out, as well as my fake API key, fake API token. So that's how those work. So these are some abstract examples, but should be enough to get you started with some of the other automation that you're putting into Morpheus. I also wanted to show, we have this guide in our documentation that shows a fully automated single node application deployment in Morpheus and kind of how to build all of the various items that go along with that, whether that be tasks, file templates, Cypher secrets, and kind of just how to put all the pieces together. But I did on this video want to show, if we look at the task content, one of the tasks that's associated with this application build essentially installs Suite CRM and configures MySQL database, does all of that in one shot, in one task. But if we take a look here, you can see very first thing that we're doing is we are setting the MySQL root password on this variable, and it's used a number of different times throughout the script. So as we get down here into the MySQL section, we can see that all of these calls to the rpass variable were securely onboarding and securely utilizing the MySQL root password in this script. So thanks for taking a look with me at using Cypher secrets in automation tasks, and we'll see you in the next video.